Because yesterday, J.D. Vance called it fake news. He said the reporter who got the scoop needed to get better sources. They kind of love that explanation from the Trump administration, specifically in response to the reports that he, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Attorney General Pam Bondi were going to have dinner at the vice president's residence to discuss strategy on Trump's Jeffrey Epstein problem. Specifically, and quite definitively, I will say, Vance said, quote, in the Oval Office, by the way, "We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation." Now, I mean, CNN had 4 sources saying that the meeting had been moved or rescheduled. Reuters had a source saying the meeting had been canceled altogether. That is how aggressively Vance, Patel, and Bondi and all their spokesfolks tried to deny the reports that they were going to hold a highly inappropriate and, frankly, pretty offensive meeting last night to discuss strategy between the White House and the supposedly independent Department of Justice on how to address the Epstein fallout. It turns out it wasn't fake news at all. It wasn't rescheduled. It wasn't canceled. NBC News reports that that meeting did, in fact, happen last night at the White House. So yesterday, when Vance's spokesperson, which I noted last night, I would say, was very carefully worded, he said this, quote, "There was never a supposed meeting scheduled at the vice president's residence to discuss Epstein's strategy." He really just meant it was in a different location. Because a person close to the White House tells NBC that Vance, Bondi, and Patel all met last night for dinner at the White House, and they did, in fact, discuss Epstein. Now, it goes without saying, the attorney general in any administration is supposed to be removed from politics, because they're supposed to be removed from political considerations so that he or she can make decisions that are driven by the law, avoiding even the slightest, tiniest hint of political favoritism. Of course, they're not supposed to coordinate with the White House on how to handle a matter that could further implicate the president himself. Of course they're not, although we're really in this situation. Trump has really brought it to us. And in the past, though, even the illusion of coordination has made MAGA world go completely crazy. I mean, do you remember when Bill Clinton had an unplanned conversation with then Attorney General Loretta Lynch on the airport tarmac in 2016? The mere appearance of possible impropriety back then, given that Hillary Clinton was under investigation at the time, ignited a firestorm that lasted not days, not weeks, but years.
The collusion between Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton was on display for all to see in an astounding meeting on a tarmac in Phoenix.
Explosive new revelations about the secret tarmac meeting.
Loretta Lynch going on the tarmac and meeting with Bill Clinton.
Meeting on the tarmac.
Lynch said they only discussed their grandkids and Bill's golf game. Really? 30, 40 minutes? How stupid do they think we are?
Every major lawyer is saying the same thing. They can't believe it happened.
This is what's wrong with the Clintons. They can't help themselves. They believe they're above the law.
This is a disaster. But it's even a greater disaster if they get away with it.
Why would she meet with Bill Clinton on the tarmac in Phoenix?
The Department of Justice should not be politicized.
How bad a judgment is it for him or for her to do this? I mean, who would do this?
Who would do this? I mean, well, Donald Trump, your entire team would do this. I mean, they just made that chance encounter that everybody was flipping out about look pretty anodyne. And your people don't even seem to recognize what's wrong here. I mean, I'm not holding my breath. No one should. That over at Fox News, they are currently reporting on how inappropriate this meeting is, which is far worse than that tarmac interaction. Now, Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch definitely had a lapse of optics judgment. There's no question about that, when they allowed that now infamous tarmac encounter to happen in 2016. But since then, both of them publicly expressed regret about having done so, saying they did not realize how even an innocuous conversation would come across, and that they wish they had the foresight to have not had the conversation at all. Yeah. And there's been no real reporting whatsoever to suggest their innocuous conversation was anything but that. Now, compare that to last night's meeting. The public learned about the plan for this meeting before the meeting even actually happened. The public and the press laid out clear as day just how improper and unethical this meeting would be. Trump, Vance, and a slew of others all led the media and everyone to believe this meeting wasn't actually happening. And then they met anyway. They knew how bad this was and just did it anyway. The way NBC reports it tonight, again, based on a person close to the White House, is that Vance, Patel, and Bondi did not meet to just discuss Epstein, because that, of course, would be incredibly unethical. NBC source says they also met to discuss 2 fired FBI agents with ties to the Mar-a-Lago classified documents investigation. So don't worry, everyone. They weren't just having an unethical meeting between the executive branch and the Department of Justice on one topic. They were having a highly unethical meeting on 2 topics. If that makes you feel any better. Doesn't make me feel any better.